So when it comes to gratitude, gratitude is one of the ways that we can elicit devotion, or it falls under the umbrella of devotion. What we're covering is the role that gratitude takes in devotion. So the essence of any devotional practice is the effacement of the ego. If we are doing a devotional practice, it means that our ego is being reduced. To sort of understand this, we want to look at some of the effects that the ego has on the personality. There's a range of different effects, but we want to look at a couple specifically. And we want to see how they're related to gratitude. One of the ways that it functions is by taking things for granted. Another way that it functions is by having a sense of entitlement. One, taking things for granted. You can call this an expression of ignorance. Let's say you're born into a wealthy family. The environment that you have always grown up in is an expression of that wealth. You know, all the people you know, the school you go to, the social circumstances you are in, the gifts you get on a Christmas day, everything is an expression of that wealth, right? And so you take that wealth for granted. It's just normal to you. And so what happens is that because it's so normal, you don't recognize its presence. Anything which is ubiquitous, we lose sight of. Simple example, are you aware of your eyesight? No. The moment you wake up, the first thing that happens is you see things around you. We're not aware that we have the capacity for vision until sand blows in our eyes, or we start to develop glaucoma or cataracts, and our vision starts to slowly disintegrate. And so because our vision is so all-pervading, we just forget that it's there. Right, so this is a good example of showing how something that is so ubiquitous to us, we lose sight of its presence. So we take our sight for granted. So taking something for granted is an expression of our ignorance. It's an expression of the ego. The other aspect, entitlement. When you have a sense of entitlement, the experience is of, I don't have enough and I deserve more. This is what we experience. Now what's interesting is that it's irrespective of circumstances. You can be in the lowest socioeconomic group and have a sense of entitlement. You can be in the highest and have a sense of entitlement. So the sense of entitlement is, I deserve more. This is, again, an expression of the ego. So both of these are expressions of ego. What we want to do is to understand how gratitude can get rid of these. Understanding how gratitude can counteract both taking for granted and the sense of entitlement requires that we understand what gratitude is. Okay, so we'll say that gratitude is an appreciation of circumstances. So that demands an awareness of your circumstances. And so this is how it directly starts to counteract this. So the awareness of the circumstances that we are in is the first part of developing gratitude, just looking at what we have. Once we have an awareness of the circumstances that we're in, what happens is that we're able to appreciate them. Once we have this appreciation of circumstances, what does it feel like? If you want to vocalize it. Okay, so we said that entitlement feels like, I don't have enough. It's sort of like the vocalization of the feeling. But how would you vocalize what the feeling is once you have an appreciation of circumstances? Kindness, sharing, giving. Okay, so good. If you have the feeling of wanting to share and give, what does that imply first? Think of it in terms of this. If entitlement is the sense of I don't have enough and I want more, it is impossible for you to share while you feel you don't have enough. If you are a billionaire and you feel that I want more, you can't share. If you are in the lowest socioeconomic group and you feel a sense of abundance, you will share. But it's not possible for us to have that feeling of sharing while we're already involved in the feeling of I don't have enough. And so the moment we appreciate the circumstances, we have this feeling of abundance. Okay, this is a good word for it. I have more than enough. So once we have this feeling of I have enough, then we're capable of sharing. So in both cases, this is what gratitude is doing. It's first of all making us aware of the circumstances that we have, and then it has this feeling of abundance associated with it. Okay, so from here I want to get into more of a practice. What is the practice of gratitude?